Thank you. So we're the PlantBuilt Vegan Muscle Team. Part of it. There's actually about 31 of us. There's 5 of us here, though, as you see. This is our second year competing together, and we came here to introduce ourselves to New York City and tell you a little bit more about what we do. My name is Giacomo Marchesi.
And I'm Danny Taylor.
And we're the co-founders and team captains of PlantBuilt. And we also have Tiffany Burek, Mindy Collette, and Chad Byers, who are all also athletes with us for both years, actually. Last year there were 15 of us. And actually, we started, there were just a handful of us who were competing and connecting with each other. And then, more and more competitors were getting together doing it. And we all decided one day, why don't we go ahead and coordinate and get together and compete all at once? Because when there's one of you on stage who's doing your thing, and for us it's living a vegan lifestyle, leading by example, and competing that way, it's very easy to say, well, maybe this person just has great genetics or whatnot. But when there's a whole team of people and we're all placing really well against the competition, then it puts a real powerful message out there. So I'm going to let Danny explain a little more. We have a little video to show, and then we could have Chad, Mindy, and Tiffany tell you a little bit more about what they do on the team as well.
So 2 weeks ago, we got the whole team together to compete at the Naturally Fit Games in Austin, Texas. We have a bodybuilding team, a powerlifting team, and a CrossFit team, and everybody competed in their own divisions. And we're going to show you a little video about how that went down.
So the stereotype is, and it has been as long as I've been vegan, and probably has been for a lot longer than that vegans are weak, scrawny, you can't build muscle, and you're nutrient deficient and you're gonna die soon, basically. And it's just not the case. And we knew that getting all these strong people together to show what the body is capable of on a fully vegan diet would make it so people couldn't question it anymore. If you go to a bodybuilding show that has one vegan and they place well, you hear from a dozen people, well, he has great genetics, or something along that line. Something like, well, he did really well in spite of his vegan diet. And we wanted to bring together a group of people that prove, no, we're doing well because of our vegan diet.
I mean, I would just say the goals are essentially awareness in the fitness community that vegans can hold their own in terms of building muscle, performing well, looking good, skill sets, whatever,
I would say that the PlantBuilt team, and specifically working with Danny, has really made the difference in not only maintaining this lifestyle, but even just knowing where to begin. And so having the support of even knowing what options there are and what things there are to eat and what's out there and what will really fuel my body has made a huge difference in making this be successful.
For me, this experience last year, doing this show was one of the most life-changing for me. I didn't know any other vegans where I was from, so for me to see all these people that exist in a whole other world, we were here last year, to have conversations in the van and a hotel that are normal conversations, not well, what do you eat or how do you do this? And we have to answer questions all day long. It was just how we don't understand how people aren't vegan. Those are the conversations that we have.
I just really wanted to connect with other bodybuilding vegans. I feel like I'm so on my own in Vancouver, as vegan friendly as it is. People look at me like, what? When I say, I don't eat any meat or dairy or anything. And I just was so curious to find out what the other vegans do and what do they eat and how do they do this and succeed.
It's surreal. I never expected to be here. Competing is something I never would have thought I would have done, given I'm not a social butterfly and I don't like the attention on me. But like I said, it's not for me, it's for the animals, so it gives me a reason to compete.
You're not doing this for yourself. You're doing this for the message, which for us is animal rights and animal welfare. However we can lead people to veganism by example, by showcasing what we do, whether it's bodybuilding, CrossFit, powerlifting, mixed martial artists, anything, fitness models, whatever it is, that's a win for us and a win for the animals.
There's just this like common understanding that we're bonded together through the mission that we have, instead of like we're here to just show, you know, like lift as much weight and get the trophy or flex, you know, like, I mean, we're here for a purpose.
I'm not representing just myself. I'm representing a group, and you know, we stand for so much more than that. So we want to be a good representation of this team.
More than anything, what I've been so amazed by is that PlantBuilt in just 1 year has become bigger than just this team. If you search the PlantBuilt hashtag on Instagram, there's like tens of thousands of pictures using it. And you know, people are so proud to be vegan and strong and athletic, and it's just blown my mind how much people are taking the idea and running with it, sometimes literally. So.
Last year, and how do you have so much energy? Because you have to tell, because we like that much energy. It's you guys. You give me super duper energy powers. And I love my vegan PlantBuilt team. Yeah, I'm not doing this for myself anymore. I'm doing it for the animals that can't speak for themselves.
I just thought I would ask, what made you decide to go vegan?
For the animals.
I started for my health and it stuck for the animals. Just curious.
I just knew I had something greater to represent but myself. Like, I could go in and as an individual and not place as well, but knowing that I had something to represent made me place so well, I think. I wanted to make a great representation for what an athlete can do on a vegan diet and prove to others that we are not weak, we are stronger individuals, we have a faster recovery, and watch out.
Really cool. I just feel really honored to have been able to compete with everybody on the team. I feel like they're so incredible, and it just feels wonderful to feel like that's my PlantBuilt family. So, and it's, without being there, it's hard to explain that to anybody else until they actually see it in person.
Yeah.
That it's not an exaggeration, it really feels like a family.
And we really do come together, and it's more than just meeting up. It's about that feeling and that emotion, that support that we create with one another, that bond. You know, I mean, everyone feels it.
Getting to see where we all come from, on why we're vegan, sharing those great stories with each other, and sharing them with everybody out here all day long, asking about why we're vegan, what we're doing this for animals who can't speak for themselves. That's what this is about, you know?
Thanks, guys. I hope you were able to hear that okay. I know it was coming from the TV and not these speakers. But so I'm going to let our PlantBuilt athletes tell you a little bit about themselves individually. All right, here's Chad.
Hey, guys, thank you. My name's Chad Byers. I've been a member of the PlantBuilt team for 2 years. Before that, I've been vegan for almost 4 now. And before that, I eat tons of meat. I was telling someone earlier today about what I would typically eat during the day. Before I was vegan, I would start with breakfast. It was a dozen egg whites, and then I would move on to some kind of whey shake, and then maybe tuna, something, chicken breast, another shake, and it was just meat after meat after meat the whole day. And I thought that that's what I needed to build muscle, to be strong. And it wasn't until this was just before that, I found out that my ex had, she was diagnosed with endometrial cancer. And so it got me thinking about ways that should try to treat. I looked for treatment therapies for her that weren't conventional. And that's when I stumbled upon the China study, And that led me to other documentaries, Forks Over Knives and Food Inc. and all those that you've probably seen. If not, you should really check them out. And it got me thinking about myself and all the meat that I was ingesting, all the animal products, the dairy. I was probably drinking over a gallon of milk every day because I grew up, and everybody grows up with the same thing in school. Milk, it does a body good. And it's, the meat council, the dairy council, we're all putting out those advertisements. And so it just kind of gets in our head after a while. But it wasn't until I started doing research on my own, found out that that wasn't the case. And so once you become knowledgeable about it, then it's no longer, well, I didn't know that. Now it's a choice. And so I chose to be healthy, hoping that I would still be able to build muscle and maintain my strength. And I'm actually stronger than I was before. I'm in better shape than I've ever been. So it's not meat that's doing that. It's a healthy diet. It's lifting weights. It's getting exercise, but it's really the fuel that we're putting into our bodies that's important. So. When they asked me to join the team a couple years ago, I was definitely, any way we can get the message out and kind of show, there's only 5 of us here today, but when there's 35 of us in a room, it's pretty powerful when people see, what we look like. And it's really, for a lot of people, that's what it takes. I want to see someone who looks the way I want to look, but who's doing it in a healthy way, because you can be fit and not be healthy. We want to show that you should be fit and healthy. And being healthy is consuming fruits and vegetables, whole plant-based foods, not harming other animals, other beings in the process, because it's just not necessary. A little bit about myself also is I have a gym in Austin, Texas. It's a plant-based gym. It's called Beyond Fit. We do strength and conditioning there. Not everybody is plant-based or vegan at the gym, but when people come in, they know that that's what we promote. And we have a lot of people that come in from CrossFit who didn't get support that they needed, really pushing paleo. You have to eat meat to be strong if you want to train this way. And so we are really welcoming in our gym. If people want to eat meat, they can still do that. But whenever they come in and they see how hard we train and the results that we get, they know that it's possible. They don't have to eat that way if they don't want to. Just wanted to give you a little bit of information about that, and I'm glad you guys are here. We really want to present a positive message about animal cruelty, and a lot of, I don't know if Giacomo touched on it a little bit, but we donate a lot of the money, the proceeds to charities, and we'll be presenting some a little bit later. But I want to give some other people a chance to talk, so I want to welcome Mindy to the stage.
Hey guys, first of all, thanks for coming. This is cool. So my name is Mindy Collette, and my story is kind of touching off of Chad's. I actually did my first figure competition in 2009, and it was an NPC show. And before that, I'd actually been vegetarian, but then I started training, and the guy that I was training with was like, you gotta eat meat, you have to eat meat. And I was like, oh, okay. So I started doing chicken and fish, and I felt terrible the entire time. I felt awful. So I got on stage, I placed second in my category, which I was like, hey, it's my first one, this is great. Go backstage, and there's this guy, and he has this blonde ponytail, and he's like hugging everybody, and he's like, hey, high five, you did great. And no bodybuilders are like that, like they're backstage and like serious and stoic. And I was like, who is this guy? So that ended up being Robert Cheek, and he's the starter of veganbodybuilding.com. And I didn't have any clue who he was at all. He just added me on Facebook like a week later, and he wrote me a little message. And then over the next couple months or so, I was like, what is up with this guy? He's so happy all the time, and his posts are cool. I was like, what is vegan bodybuilding? So I started looking into it. Totally changed my life. That's where it started. When I first told him I was going to do it, I was like, I'm gonna do it for like 30 days and see what happens. So he sent me some packets, like a week into that. And in the packets, he sent me Why Vegan by PETA. And I sat in my living room and sobbed for like 45 minutes because I didn't know what was happening. I had no idea. Sorry. So obviously it impacted me a lot. And that was it. I was like, screw this. It's not 30 days. This is for life. There's no way this is ever going back. So last year when PlantBuilt began, or I guess it was like a year and a half ago, technically 2 years ago, when that first came out, I was like, there's no way I'm not doing that because that's the coolest thing ever. So it's been honestly a life-changing process for me. So it's been about 4.5 years that I've been vegan. And like I said, it was originally for health, but there's so much more to it than that. And I am just so proud and honored to be a part of a team and of a community that stands for something that's so much more than just ourselves, that we see that everybody's important, whether they're a human animal or a non-human animal. And it's just, I don't know, you just know it's the best thing, it's the best thing ever. So if you're not, you should check it out. What about me myself is I actually live here in New York City, and I have a tank top brand right now, but I'm actually expanding that to a clothing line soon in the next year, so stay tuned for that. And I'm actually also starting up a feeding of the homeless, but all vegan food, so if anybody wants to get involved, you can send me an email at info@mindyvegan.com, and I'm going to rally that up, so if you're interested, let me know. But yeah, I'm going to pass it along to Tiffany now. Thank you.
Now I got to try not to cry up here. Hey guys, my name is Tiffany Burich. I am a vegan bodybuilder, and I live in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I've been a vegan for almost 7 years now, and I was a vegetarian for a year before that. I became vegan. I didn't know any other vegans. Everybody around me ate meat. I grew up eating meat. I grew up in Ohio. And I got a PETA magazine in the mail the one day, and it was an article about a downer cow. And for those of you who don't know what that is, when the cows get too old or sick and can't even walk to the truck to go to the slaughterhouse, the means of them getting there is, kicking them, pushing them, using a forklift, just as if they were just, a log on the ground. And I had no idea this kind of thing was going on, and so I did more research about it, and I just said at that moment I couldn't contribute to this any longer. So I became a vegetarian. I didn't know anybody else, so I wanted to do it just so I could stick with it. Every couple months I cut out a different meat group, and after a year I ended up not eating dairy anymore, and now I'm at almost 7 years of being a vegan. I've been on, thank you. And then over the past 2 years, I ended up meeting up with Giacomo and Danny online. They started this PlantBuilt team. It's been amazing. I've connected with so many people over the past 2 years that I started off knowing nobody who was vegan and just did it because of what I thought was right. And now it's like I have this whole other world that I didn't even know existed of all these people that are vegan. And it's been so, so amazing and life-changing for me for sure. So, I am a personal trainer down in Florida. I do online training, noexcusesfitness.org. And, I do fitness modeling and a lot of charity stuff down in Florida, the Humane Society and PETA and Ocean Conservancy as well. So that's my spiel. So thank you guys for coming. This is awesome. Thank you.
So I'm a vegan bodybuilder. My name's Giacomo again. I guess a little background about me. So I grew up out here actually in Brooklyn, and about 11 years ago, someone who was close to me fell ill, and I wanted to help them, and I was already into fitness, and I was going to the co-op, buying my my organic fruits, produce, vegetable, eating unprocessed and whatnot. And I asked a lady in the holistic health department over there, I said, how can I help this person? And she started giving me books to read, and I read one thing after another. So I actually got into the vegan lifestyle through health. And then after connecting with other people in New York City at local raw food potlucks and, just connecting with the vegan community, basically, I started to learn about animal welfare and animal rights and what really goes on behind the scene. You know, oddly enough, you would think that I would have saw a little more what was going on growing up, but you know, I didn't even know, I wasn't even familiar with the word vegetarian until I was in my 20s. So I wasn't exposed to what really happens behind the scenes, the factory farming, you know, how animals are treated as a commodity and not as, you know, another life form. I mean, why love one species and kill another? There's just, it's black and white to me. There's no difference. You have to respect all life. And so fitness to me is an outlet for activism. It's a way for me to lead by example and show others that see us doing this. Yes, wow, you know, you look healthy, you are healthy. How do you do it? And that's how I feel like we can have an audience. And afterwards, once people are introduced to a plant-based lifestyle, or wherever they come to it, you hope that they come full circle and they realize that there's a lot more involved in it. And there really is no reason, especially now with so many options out there, you know, to consume animals at all. There's just no reason for it whatsoever. And arguably, it's a much healthier way to live, not only a much more compassionate way to live. So as far as what we do, Danny and I are partners, and we've run a supplement shop, veganproteins.com. And so we sell different protein formulas, meal replacement formulas, any convenience packaged food or otherwise stuff that you don't need to supplement as a vegan. However, just like any omnivorous athlete or anyone that wants to accelerate their performance or just wants convenience food would supplement, so would we. It's not because we're vegan. And aside from vegan proteins, obviously we started PlantBuilt a couple years ago, and that's just been nothing short of awesome. And I'll let Danny elaborate on that a little more and tell you a little more bit about herself.
Hi. Thanks again for being here, everybody. I'll tell you a brief little bit about myself. So I grew up obese until I was about 17 years old. I became vegetarian when I was 12. I knew from a very young age, after watching a lobster that we had been hanging out with all day get put in a pot, that, oh my God, this food that we're eating used to be alive. So it was actually a lobster that made me go vegetarian at 12. And when I was 17, I stumbled across a website that explained the connections between the dairy and egg industry and the meat industry. And I was like, oh, it's all connected. So just like that, I went vegan overnight. At that point, I was still obese, 17 years old, about 210 pounds. And just from dropping dairy and eggs, 30 pounds just sort of fell off me over the next couple months. I wasn't trying. I had pretty much come to the conclusion that I was obese. This is who I am, genetically, and I was okay with it. But for the first time in my life, this weight was coming off me, and I thought, oh, well, I can actually do something to change my life. I don't have to be this way. And I started working out, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing cardio in my living room, and then I joined a gym and did cardio there, and would longingly look at the weight section and be like, I wish I knew what to do over there, but I didn't. So I hired a trainer, and she was awesome, and she taught me how to lift, and she taught me how to lift heavy with really good form. And so that was fantastic. I was able to push myself and feel strong for the first time in my entire life. But when it came to what to eat, she was question marks over her head. She had no idea, because I wasn't about to not give up my vegan ethics just because I want to work out at the gym. That's crazy talk. So I started trying to figure out what I could eat that would help fuel my goals and fuel my body. And this was 10 years ago. There really wasn't, the internet was not what it is now. There was no Facebook. But I went to the Boston Veg Fest in 2008, and Robert Cheek, again, like Mindy, he's the godfather of all vegan bodybuilding. He was giving a talk, much like this one. And I was like, oh my God, there's vegan bodybuilders. And he had a whole online community that had 1,500 people in it. And pretty much nobody knew what they were doing, because there wasn't a lot of information. But we all learned from each other what was working for this person. And oh, maybe I'll try that. And over the years, more and more people were coming up with more solid answers to what worked for us and what didn't work for us, what we could mimic from the meat-eating bodybuilding world and what we didn't have to. And I got my personal training certification, got various nutrition certifications, started experimenting on myself, started experimenting on Giacomo shortly after we met, and then I started taking on other clients. So that's what I do now with veganproteins.com. I train people mostly online, so all over the world with their diet mostly. And yeah, so we formed PlantBuilt. We got all these people together, and for the first time ever, there's a huge group of vegan athletes. And so far we've just competed in Texas twice, but we're thinking about maybe competing elsewhere, maybe places that are not so familiar with veganism. It would be pretty cool to like show up in Alabama and with a bunch of vegans and, you know, win in a bodybuilding show. So that's something that we're looking forward to. And also expanding on our other strength-based teams, because there's lots of vegan athletes in endurance sports that we all know about and are pretty familiar with, but you don't hear a whole lot about vegan strength-based athletes. So that's sort of what we're going for right now. So part of this is we do raise a lot of money, and we want to make sure that people understand this is not about us, you know, just wanting to get on stage and flex our muscles and just be like, oh, look how good we look. We're trying to, one, obviously promote a message, but two, everybody on the team is vegan for ethical reasons, you know, as well as health reasons, but definitely ethical as well. So we are a nonprofit organization, and all the money we raise gets donated to either farm sanctuaries or other vegan outreach groups so that we can reach people in multiple different ways. So we are going to present some of the money that we raised to For the Animals Sanctuary. So we did a Kickstarter, well, we did an Indiegogo campaign online to raise funds for this, and thank you to anybody in this room who donated to our Indiegogo campaign. You'll be getting your perks within the next couple months, but this is where the money went right here, so. So this is $3,000 to For the Animals Sanctuary. And we also have a check for our hen house, which I'm not sure if she's in the room right now. I know she's giving a talk, but we have a $3,000 check for our hen house as well. And they are a vegan outreach group. They help teach people who want to be vegan the best ways to go about becoming vegan. We also donated to Edgar's Mission, which is a farm sanctuary in Australia, where we have a sister team of vegan athletes there as well. And Pig's Peace Sanctuary, which is in Washington State. Awesome, awesome. Thank you. So we have about 15 minutes, I believe, left of this talk, and we wanted to take some questions if you guys have any. Right here. Okay, so somebody who's already vegan? Okay, so the question is somebody who is vegan who wants to start working out and doesn't really know where to start. So my first thing would be to, if you can hire a trainer, because you don't want to hurt yourself at the gym. You will be scared of the gym, you won't want to go back. So if you can hire a trainer, even if it's just to teach you what to do in the gym, even for 1 or 2 sessions, that's a great place to start. Secondly, I would say make sure you're eating enough. So many people, and I've noticed especially so many vegans, are not eating enough. We're eating foods that are less calorie dense than a lot of meat eaters, so you have to eat more of it to fuel your body properly. So, you know, keeping a food journal of some kind just to make sure, unlike a lot of meat-eating people that I've worked with where they find out they're actually overeating, a lot of vegans might find that they're under-eating. So just to keep track of that. There are a lot of vegan nutritionists. I would suggest going to PlantBuilt.com just because a lot of the people on the team are vegan nutritionists, and you can find everybody's information there. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So he asked, so I said there are some things in the meat-eating bodybuilding world that we don't need to mimic, but some that we do. And he asked what some of the things that we do are. So, do you want to take this one? Tiff, Mindy?
So if you're doing bodybuilding or any kind of athletic sport like that and you're lifting, in the normal or the vegan bodybuilding world, protein shakes are a big deal. And there's so many coming out on the market. In the past few years, it's kind of exploded in a good way. So there's so many options. So if you don't like brown rice, then there's hemp, there's pea protein, there's soy protein, there's everything. And there are all kinds of different ones that are noted for different allergies, which you can get at veganproteins.com. But also another thing that's really important as an athlete is your recovery. So there's a lot of great recovery products as well. Vega has a great recovery product. You can also Clean Machine is actually coming out with vegan BCAAs, which are branched chain amino acids, and that's something that in either side of the sport, regular or vegan, BCAAs are going to be really important, but the majority of the BCAAs on the market are not from vegan sources. So this is the first one that's completely plant-based, so that's going to be exciting to come out. And then vitamins. I mean, everybody does vitamins, but that's another really important thing, I think, in lifting for either side of that.
So we're a pretty small group, but we are growing, and we are expanding for next year. We may be taking on another sport if there's enough interest. Right now we have only, we're at capacity with the bodybuilding team. We're looking for more CrossFitters, more powerlifters, and possibly other strength-based sports like kettlebell. Go to our website on PlantBuilt.com, hit the contact page, and do that. Otherwise, we can always connect and find a way to work together to promote the message in the future. But before I forget, there was also something else that I wanted to mention briefly, and then if there's any other questions. We do want to thank the companies that make this possible, not only the community. So to touch upon how we did raise this money, because it came from somewhere, we started a fundraising campaign, and we had 400 people who believed in us enough to do this, and I can't thank the community enough for backing this, because without that support, there would simply be no way whatsoever that we would have been able to exist. Secondly, there are several major companies, backers of us, and two of them are here right now. Plant Fusion is in the center. You should try out their protein formulas. We all use it. And they have been with us since day one. They were our first sponsor. They're one of our biggest financial backers, which to them, it's more than the bottom line. It's what they truly believe in, which is promoting veganism as a lifestyle. Vega is also one of our major sponsors, Health Force Nutritionals, Clean Machine, and Sun Warrior. Those are our biggest sponsors. So if you want to know the companies that are promoting a lifestyle and are not just looking to make a product, those are the ones we would suggest and we would recommend looking into. And we also believe in them. Are there any other questions? I think we might have room for one or two more.
Okay, so her question was what the men eat to support what we're doing as far as training, and I think that everyone's probably different up here. I know a lot of the guys on the team are different also. Myself, I'm probably the only one on the team who I do what's called intermittent fasting. And so I don't eat my first meal usually until noon. So I fast about 16 hours every day from my last meal until my first meal. So my last meal will be around 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening, and then I won't eat anything until the next day around noon. and then I'll eat 3 meals, really large meals throughout the day. And my meals usually consist of, it's all plant-based, fruits and vegetables. I do a lot of juicing, make a lot of smoothies. I find that that's an easy way for me to get in a lot of calories. I do use supplements. I use protein supplements. And I think that if you talk to any athlete who competes, whether they're vegan or not, you're going to find that they're going to use some kind of supplement, protein supplement. It's just very challenging to get in enough protein to support new muscle growth and strength if you're not. I would be eating constantly throughout the day if I wasn't able to use some protein supplements in my shakes. But with that being said, I still eat food. I eat real food. I eat beans and quinoa and rice. I just don't eat them every meal all the time. I prefer fruits and vegetables, and fruits and vegetables are lower in protein than other foods. If you look at comparison to like beans and quinoa, which are really high in protein, greens, I would in order to get the same amount of protein from greens, I would be eating truckload after truckload of greens, and I really don't want to sit down and eat that much, so I'll juice a lot, and I'll use green smoothies or fruit smoothies, and that's where I get the majority of my food from. So.
So I eat oatmeal every morning. I love oatmeal. Even if I can't eat it and I'm not in the mood to eat, because I have a lot of clients who say that, oh, I'm not hungry in the morning. But you still have to get your food in unless you're doing some sort of fasting like he does. I eat every 2.5 hours. I'm hungry every 2.5 hours, so I'm watching the clock. And so if I'm not hungry, I will put my oatmeal and everything in with my protein powder, my oatmeal, unsweetened almond milk, put it all together in the blender and just drink it. And that way you get it in. It's the best way to get in calories. Like you said, you can get enough nutrients in if you could just drink it if you're not, if you can't eat that much food. Lentils have a great carb to protein ratio. When you're trying to build muscle, you want to eat carbs as well. Because you can't just build muscle eating protein. You need to have your carbohydrates. You shouldn't be afraid of eating carbohydrates. You need them for energy. You need them for muscle growth. So it's just about timing them before and after your workouts is when you want to have them as well. But as far as that goes, brown rice, lots of greens, kale, spinach, tofu, Beyond Meat. That's pretty much my typical day of everything that I eat in there. And I do protein powder too. Like I don't mind eating protein powder. It's convenient for me. If I need to get extra fat in, I'll throw almond butter in there or peanut butter in the shake. And fruits, vegetables, and quinoa. All those are good sources of protein. But and lift heavy, lift weights.
So I think that's just about all the time we have now. Chad and Tiffany are going to be teaching group fitness classes throughout the day, today and tomorrow, which you can buy tickets for at the door, I believe, or online. They're $25, and all of the money towards that is going to be split between For the Animal Sanctuary and our hen house. And then if you have any questions that we didn't get to today, we're going to be in and out behind the PlantBuilt booth over here, so you can stop by and talk to us. We're more than happy to talk to you about whatever questions you have. All right, thank you so much, everybody.